regardless of what we do this season, last season was an absolute trip and we got spoiled. So I'm okay with whatever happens last season. I think the very peak of this little Chiefs dynasty going on was when we all
Bengals got robbed.
together. We all came together
Martin,
to
I saw it live.
yeah, we all came together to watch that AFC championship game. Bro, that was awesome.
Robbery.
He had to lean into
Robbery.
that one.
No
He had to
way.
lean into that one real quick.
Had to go into the mic so you all could hear that.
I ain't in the mood, yeah. I ain't hit the groove, yeah. I ain't hit the mood.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Win is a Win podcast, aka somewhat of the Bubble Boy and Boys podcast. Because while we do have Martin here, we unfortunately are missing Matt. So we can't say that we are the Bubble Boy and Boys completely, but we can let it slide for now and say we're somewhat of the Bubble Boy and Boys. But we are back with Martin again, who has graciously joined us. He's somewhat of a frequent visitor on the podcast. Say what's up, Punky.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Howdy,
And of
howdy.
course, Samecookie.
Hi there.
And I am HDouble, and this is episode 44, and we are here to discuss some very, very, very controversial topics, aka the NFL playoff race and the MLB Off-Season, which, of course, we had to bring the MLB into this with Martin on the podcast. Martin is a big MLB guy. He brings a lot of good insight to the game for us. But yeah, we're going to talk about the NFL playoff race. It's heating up. We're in week 15 as we speak. We've already had a couple games played that had big playoff implications. We're going to kind of see who we like, who we think will make the playoffs. And then we're also going to see we're going to talk about our favorite teams because we're all in different places right now and see how we think we're going to finish the year and all that good stuff. And then we're going to go right into the MLB offseason. There's been some big news with obviously a certain player, generational talent. I'm sure we're going to discuss him. And then, some other big additions that have happened in the offseason and some that haven't happened yet. So we're going to discuss all that in this episode. Anyone have any thoughts?
Not really.
No, I'm ready to jump into it.
All right. You ready? Let's get it. Let's go right into the
Ready.
NFL then.
Ready. Yeah, so I guess I can start with that NFL stuff. Yeah, the playoff race has been a little exciting so far. It's been one of the lone bright spots of this NFL season, I think, especially right after that stinker, the Raiders versus the Chargers, that happened a couple days ago from when we're recording this. But it's been a weak season, I think, especially compared to last year. There's been a lot of weird scores. Personally, my Chiefs, they are having an off season for sure. So I don't know if I like that in that part. The playoff picture is a little closer to what I think it is. Not a few bright spots going into the wild card in the AFC side, at least. In the NFC, it gets a little bit more interesting. There are a couple more higher teams, like top teams like the Eagles and the Cowboys. Unfortunately, they're probably going to secure the 1 and 2 seeds, but other than that, I think it's pretty set in stone for now. Right now, currently, we're about to get into week 15, but I'm just going off with a hot take. I don't think there's going to be much change from what the picture is right now. What do you guys
don't think there's going to be much change?
No, from how it's set right now, yeah.
Okay.
I think if anything, I think the biggest change might literally just be the Dallas Philadelphia kind of deal, like who's taking that division. Because I mean they did just play each other, and let me tell you, that was a great game to watch. Yeah, that's like other than like the Dallas and Philadelphia kind of like battle for the top spot right there, or I guess battle for the second seed right there in the NFC. I really don't see much changing. I'm sure the Chiefs will figure it out because even for a bad year, 8-5 already, like, come on now, that's pretty good. And I don't know. I'm excited to see what Baltimore can do. Baltimore, if they keep that number one seed, holy buddy, it might be dangerous there.
I mean, I'll talk about the Ravens in a little bit, but you're getting me excited already, Martin.
It's a little sad that Mandrews isn't here to see it, but
yeah, that does suck.
Hey, Isaiah Likely though, he's got some game. He's honestly pretty solid as a backup. but he's not Mark Andrews, I think, when it comes to playoff time. But I'll get to that anyways in a little bit. But is Tom Brady kind of right with seems like the NFL is a little
Yeah,
more a lot of mediocrity right now.
yeah. Tom Brady was right, I think, too, when he said that.
Hey man, the goat knows, doesn't he? It does feel like it. I mean, obviously the Raiders scoring 63 was probably, I mean, it was a blowout, but at least it was kind of really cool to see. Like, oh my gosh, they were just clicking on all cylinders. But yeah, it feels like a lot of games this year have been. It feels like it's just been under. I think the only real teams I've had fun watching like every week, and this is just like their offense specifically, is I think the Cowboys lately have been pretty good with Dak. He's been playing well, but like the 49ers have been really fun to watch. But like and the Lions, at least they had a stretch there this past bit where they weren't, but like earlier and even last night they were fun. But a lot of teams, and I think in the AFC it's been true. A lot of teams, and it feels just like there hasn't been, I feel like it's been underperforming in a way, and it just hasn't been as good a football as we're used to these last couple of years. It does feel like it's a step down, and defenses are a little, I don't know if they're stronger, but I think offenses are just weaker this year, and just all across the league for the most part. Uh, and so it's made games, watching games maybe not as exciting as it's been. And I mean, I've skipped out on so many Thursday night games. I mean, they pick bad matchups anyways. I skipped out on a lot of Sunday night games that just don't seem appealing, just because a lot of these teams that, were, a lot of them that were that get most of the primetime games, the bigger time teams, the more hyped up teams haven't been performing as well and as years pass and, what they were expected to perform. So I want to say that first. I don't know what you guys think about that as well, but
Oh
Dude,
no,
we've had a lot of injuries this year too. So I mean that kind of ruins the product a little bit, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean like you said earlier, the Lions, dude, man, the Lions last night that game was so fun to watch. And then just in general, like even though they're in the same division as the Bears, my favorite team, I still enjoy watching the Lions way more than my own Bears. So
think about last week against your own Bears, the Lions were not enjoyable to watch at all. And I'm sure that was a fun game to watch
yeah,
for
well,
you.
coming
it
into
was
last
still a
week,
fun game for me to watch last week anyways.
Yeah. So
of course,
yeah,
it was.
I was gonna say I feel like I've noticed the mediocrity no more or more in this place than anywhere else, but in the fantasy world. I feel like fantasy hasn't been as good this year for a lot of besides like Christian McCaffrey and
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, And that's where, for example, like the MVP race, like people are like, it shouldn't even be one of the quarterbacks right now. It should be CMC or Tyreek, just because that's kind of how mediocre the NFL has been more this year. And now they're really saying the MVP is just a quarterback award, because really all those guys up there probably don't deserve it as much as these skill position guys right now.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of like I said, it just seems a little, yeah, like it just it just feels more, I guess, like Tom Brady said, it feels more mediocre. But
Yeah, and to add on to that too, I think a lot of the fame and attraction from this NFL season has been taken away because a lot of star QBs have been injured for the season too. Like Aaron Rodgers, he was one of the biggest names because he signed on with the Jets for the season, and he played like only a couple snaps, and then he got out for the whole season. And then other
well,
guys like Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, that you just see their backups playing all day. I mean, obviously, it's going to be football at the end of the day, but it's not as exciting or like driven and efficient as guys like Joe Burrow or Kirk Cousins will play.
hey, Aaron Rodgers is supposed to maybe be cleared next week, which
I
is
don't believe
still
that.
unbelievable.
I don't
But
believe that.
yeah,
So when I saw the news of that maybe happening last night, I was like, how many balls do I need to have to start Aaron Rodgers in my fantasy league? Because I was the one who originally drafted him, and I got absolutely disappointed when he got down week 1. But I was like, how awesome would it be if he were to come back from torn Achilles to just end up playing and winning the fantasy championship for me?
yeah.
I'm like a kid in a candy store thinking about that.
Also, though, it seems like a lot of these injuries also, most of them have been in the AFC. If you think about it, I know off the top of your head it's Kirk Cousins, but the other ones, you have Joe Burrow, you have Deshaun Watson, you have Kenny Pickett, you have Anthony Richardson, you have Aaron Rodgers. Justin Herbert now. Those are all AFC
Mhm.
teams. And so it seems like the AFC has been hit way more by this. And that's why a lot of people are also saying there's no real clear favorite in the AFC. It seems like the AFC is really up for grabs. In the NFC, a lot of it, people are saying the Niners are up there, and I think that's well deserved. And, the Cowboys, those are probably the like kind of two top teams. And I wouldn't be surprised if they met, in the NFC Championship, but Cowboys always choke. So we'll see if that happens.
Mhm.
Anyways, but like the AFC, it's a real mix. You said the NFC race is you know the exciting one, and I agree for those wild card positions. But the AFC just all across the top to bottom, and even in the playoffs, to me is exciting because I really don't know who's gonna win, and I think the AFC is just weaker than the NFC in terms of conferences. But those injuries have really impacted the AFC more than the NFC, and
Oh, for
so
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the records too. I didn't realize the NFC is so top heavy too. Got a whole bunch of 10 and
Yeah,
3s and a whole bunch of 6 and 7s.
yeah, and then you look at the
And then you
AFC
look at
and
everybody's 8 and 5.
yeah, and 7-7, and so
Pretty much, yeah. That's crazy.
or 7-6, but yeah. So yeah, I was gonna if you had any more thoughts about just like I guess mediocrity in the NFL right now, I was gonna say, do you guys want to
Well,
give some prediction? Oh, what do you got, Martin?
Oh,
I'm a Bears fan, okay? So all I've known is mediocrity. No,
Man,
but
right. You're right.
I don't know. I just think especially with like uh with the good teams like the Chiefs that are having a down year, it also kind of ruins it too. Not necessarily ruins it, but it kind of like we don't have a team that like gets a super hype every week like the Chiefs were pretty much every week, for the last couple years. This year they've been kind of like floating in the wind. So they're still at the NFL's favorite team, right? They still post them all the time, but there's just not as much excitement going on over there because we've got some issues to handle out over there in KC.
Yeah, I've definitely been spoiled watching my favorite team for the last couple years or so for how high octane offense they've had. This year, I hope is definitely like an anomaly because they haven't really played well at all. I think their highest scoring game this season even is 31 points, and that seems pretty low for how the Chiefs are playing with Patrick Mahomes under center. And to be fair, they're pretty lucky too to kind of escape the injury bug at for most of the part. They haven't had a whole lot of injuries as compared to a lot of other teams in the AFC. And I kind of do agree with what Charles is saying. The NFC is a little bit more meh. Outside of, I would say the Lions, I think the Lions are the most exciting team in that conference. And then there's always the 49ers, but they're the 49ers too. But yeah, it's not an exciting year overall, unless you're a Ravens fan, I would say.
I mean, honestly, let's talk about our teams right now. Actually, I like that. We could talk about the Chiefs and then transition because you brought up some good points. You know what? I feel like this. I don't know. It's weird. This team doesn't seem that much different than last year's. Honestly, if anything, their defense might be a little better. So it really makes you wonder why they're struggling. Because last year they really didn't. I mean, maybe there were a couple points, but for the most part, they got the 1 seed, in the AFC. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl, right? Without Tyreek, whatever is Juju, is he bring good Juju vibes or something? Because this team doesn't feel much different, but they're struggling way more, and it makes you wonder maybe is Kelsey starting to age and it's harder to get him more involved because last year he had a really good year. Why do you think? Why do you think they're struggling a lot more compared to last year, in your opinion, Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that definitely could be a point that Kelsey could finally be regressing. I mean, he's pretty old for a tight end. I believe he's 34 right now, which
Mhm.
is older for a tight end. But yeah, obviously we lost Tyreek a couple years ago. We did perfectly well without him in the last season. But I do think it was pretty important that we also lost Juju. I mean, jokes aside from him, he was a pretty good game player. He had two hands. He knew how to use them too. He could catch footballs, which was great. As much as I want to harp about our receivers not being able to catch a football, I don't really want to blame them that much. Honestly, if I were to blame anyone, it would be Matt Nagy as our offensive coordinator this year. I think we were doing perfectly with Bieniemy. starting. I think we really should have rallied to have him stay with the Chiefs for longer. I think him and Mahomes had a perfect chemistry, and without that chemistry now, Mahomes is kind of faltering week after week. And as you guys saw last week against the Bills, he kind of blew up on himself and everyone around him. He made himself look like a D-bag pretty much. But yeah, I just hope that was the lowest point of the season when we play the Bills. I don't hope things are going up from there.
Oh
But
yeah, that clip from the Bills it'll be part of some super motivational compilation that they're gonna put together for when they're making the Super Bowl this year.
yeah, that'll be part of history. I just know it.
Yeah, I can just never count the Chiefs out as much as they've been struggling, which it has surprised me. I still can't count them out by any means, just based off of that quarterback and what they've already done. And I think you're totally right about. I think I mentioned this to you. I think I'm gonna message you like earlier this season. I was like, I think it's just because of Matt Nagy, to be honest, that they're
Okay.
having more struggles. And because like Rashee Rice has actually developed into a really nice receiver as a rookie for you guys. So
Mhm.
it's not like you guys don't have any weapons. You still have Kelsey, of course, and obviously you could say these last couple maybe because Pacheco's been out. The run game's been a lot harder to get going. I think he's pretty important for them too because he does bring a nice element to the rush game, and he obviously missed last week and supposed to be out this week. But
Mhm.
yeah, I really think it comes down to like the play calling and obviously Kadarius Toney to some degree.
Yeah.
But you guys do have a good defense, so that's going to keep you in games, I think, because like none of your games have been blowouts by any means. They've just been, not very, Mahomes has struggled in ways, and it just hasn't been. It's been sloppy, but like you've still been in the game. And for example, the Bills game, if Tony wasn't offsides, you probably have a good chance to win that game.
Oh,
And
for sure.
I
Yeah.
definitely think Mahomes' boil over was just the whole season, to be honest. I know obviously the refs in the moment, but I think it's just how the season's gone and how, they've had definitely some uncharacteristic losses, and even some of their wins have been pretty lucky squeak bys, and there's still just been frustrations in those wins. So I think it was just a compilation of the whole season. And like Martin said, this might be that turnaround moment that was like that is like the time, when they, somewhat hit rock bottom, and then now they're going to shoot up, and it's going to be the compilation
Boy, I hope so.
Oh yeah,
motivational video.
Patrick Mahomes about to go Super Saiyan here and just take
Yeah.
over.
I wonder how that locker room looked after the Bills stomped them and Mahomes threw his little fit. I wonder to see how that worked.
And like I mean, it's crazy how mad he was. He even with the handshake with Josh Allen, he was just like complaining about. I mean, no offense, he was just whining about the call still in the handshake with him. He was just like, oh, offensive offsides, worst
Yeah.
effing call ever. Like while Josh Allen's like
Yeah.
right there, and it's just
That
like
was a little
you
bad.
you
was
gotta
pretty
be, and that's
bad.
not Mahomes. Like he's normally a really good character, but that was bad character definitely in that moment. So
Oh, I agree.
you could tell he was really frustrated.
Yeah.
That's him being frustrated, but he doesn't want to direct
Um,
it towards the team because he knows that if he directs it towards the team, then it's just over. It's over for the rest
Yeah.
of the season.
But of course, he apologized and he reached out to Josh Allen and blah blah blah. So in classic Mahomes fashion, and his wife was also, posting on her Instagram about the refs, but whatever.
Yeah. What was the worst, I think, whenever I was watching that game live last week, was when Mahomes blew up on his own sideline and his own teammates had to hold him back because he was trying to like fight against one of the refs. I was right next to him on the sideline. And I was really starting to worry for like team chemistry's sake because I think like Juwan Taylor and Travis Kelce had to like hold him back from swinging at those guys. It was pretty bad. Definitely
Yeah,
like Mahomes.
him and Andy Reid got fined,
Yeah.
so they got some chunk coming
They
away from their check. So
Yeah, they definitely have a lot to prove and to bounce back from this week. They actually play in about an hour from now. You guys probably know that, but they play the Patriots. Thankfully, a cupcake schedule, so maybe they can
hey man, Bailey Zappi might throw a couple on you.
quick.
Here we go.
Dude,
It's the start of the Chiefs Mickey Mouse run.
if if Mahomes lose to Bailey Zappi, yeah, you can call that a cupcake Mickey Mouse loss.
Yeah, how do you guys have like the Pats and the easier schedule, and you had the best record, and the Ravens were 10-7, and we have the Jags and the Dolphins and the Niners, remaining in our schedule? How's that fair? But
It's
whatever.
not. To be fair, we beat the Jags as well, so
That is, yeah, you
It's
did.
rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. I'm telling you.
We're not like LeBron James level of just beating the Pistons week after week. We have actual competition on our side.
He can beat the Pistons, but he can't beat the Spurs.
No,
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say something like that.
bro, he got his eye poked out like 5 times in that game, though. I mean, it's not on topic, but they were beating up on LeBron that game. That was kind of sad for him.
SMH, find them all.
And,
Martin, let's go to your Bears. Let's
Uh,
go to your Bears. What do you give me your thoughts on the
uh,
season and all that good stuff?
I don't know. I'm in a weird spot right now. Like, I like Justin Fields, you know. Do I think he's gonna stick around? No. Do I want him to because he's been doing pretty good recently? Yeah, I'd love to use. I mean, this season's already pretty much chalked, so I don't care about this season. But I don't know. I think next year if we could use some of those picks to just retool around Justin Fields, the Bears might be dangerous next year.
Yeah, I guess we can jump right into it. Justin Fields or not? You team Justin or team
Me
quarterback?
personally, I'm team Justin Fields just because the guy is good. I think to me personally, I think he's better than Caleb Williams or any other, I guess, quarterback that might get drafted in that top spot, just because he's already got the NFL experience and we don't have to fail at developing another rookie quarterback with a new guy again. But
Okay.
I don't know. They've been a little more fun to watch, especially with the DJ Moore Justin Fields connection really hitting off lately. That's been really cool to see. Finally, some fruition there. But I don't know, man. I just need Michigan to lose so we can get Jim Harbaugh.
no, he's going to the Chargers now, don't you know?
Hell, nobody.
He made an official statement like right after they booted Brandon Staley. And,
Dude,
like,
Jim Harbaugh to the Bears would be a lot of fun. I think that'd be really good
it
for
would
them.
be fun.
Are you team Justin or Sam or team draft a quarterback?
I don't know. I mean,
Well, now that we're winning too, we only really have that number one pick. So it's like that number one pick from the
the
Panthers.
Panthers.
So it's like
That's a quarterback. It could
now
be any
we're
quarterback you want right there.
we're kind of screwing ourselves because now we've got a wide variety of people that we have to pick
Yeah,
from.
the Panthers are like falling to one knee and like just handing you guys that number one pick is like, please do better next season.
Dude, we might just have to give the pick back just for pity, dude. Honestly,
You feel too bad for them. They need
we'll
it.
give him
Honestly.
DJ Moore and the pick back. We'll say we're
Yeah,
sorry.
Bryce Young has not turned out to be who he is, so they needed some help over there.
You could have another scenario like that. You trade the number one pick again this next year to someone who, would leap up for that to draft that quarterback they want, and you get more assets if you are to keep Justin Fields. I don't know. I think they're going to keep him, to be honest, if they end this season well. I really do, because it'll be his 4th year of his rookie deal, I believe. So then you can decide what to do on his 5th year. You don't have to make a decision on that. I think if they struggle to end the year, I think that there might be a good chance. But if they kind of finish how they're playing right now, like let's say they finish 7-10 or 8-9 or something like that, I think there's a good chance that they'll keep him, and maybe they'll use that number one pick on like a Marvin Harrison, or maybe they'll trade it for more assets again and move down to like number 4 or 5 or 6 or wherever. I'm personally, I don't know. It's really tough for me. I think I would stay on Team Justin right now, just because I do think that he can be pretty good. But I'm not
on the
completely
cusp of greatness with him.
I'm not completely sold still, but I would probably, because you're in a good spot still with that number one pick, and you can maybe try and get more assets, etc. Because I think you're in a good spot. I would say Team Justin, but like I said, I'm not sold on him just yet. But it's been a good sign the last couple weeks, because he only has played the last 3 games because he was out for a while, to be fair. And you had the undrafted GOAT come in and get a couple wins, so
That's
good
all
for
he
him.
did. But yeah, no, from an outside viewer coming to the Bears too, I'm not too sure. I don't really think there's like a lot of bright spots in the upcoming QB draft class to like that you could spend a pick on in the future, but I think it might be a better idea in the long run to just use that number one pick and kind of spread it around and use it to get guys to help Justin Fields too. I think he still has some really good days ahead, but his days are
Yeah.
definitely numbering.
Or dude, I've seen like TikToks and just like tweets and stuff about like the possibility of like the Bears like draft day trading Justin Fields to like the Falcons. I mean, he's a better quarterback than Desmond Ridder, and he would literally fit perfectly in the Falcons scheme because all they do is run the ball.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
actually what I was just about to say. Why I'm also on team Justin at the moment, because his rushing ability is special, and you're not going to find many quarterbacks who can run like he can. But of course, you got to be able to throw the ball too, and that's still my question mark with him. But he can. I think he's a better runner than Lamar Jackson, to be honest with you. So his ability is special, and that's something you can't really find much in quarterback. So that's there too. But you got to develop the pass game a little bit as well. So we'll see. But I think we're all on team Justin at least somewhat. Martin's a little bit more down the fence, and Sam and I were more on the top of the fence. But
Mhm.
we're technically on team Justin's lawn.
Yeah.
So
He's got belief in his boy. He can still do it.
hey, that's what you need as a fan, right? You got to have belief.
And hey, every great Bears team has never had a good quarterback. So if Justin Fields stays about as mid as he is right now, that's okay. We just got to keep bolstering that defense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Defense wins championships, baby.
The Bears have never really had a really great quarterback in history.
Dude, the best quarterback we've ever had was like freaking Jay Cutler.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
That's
best
terrible.
quarterback I could think of as a Bear was Jay Cutler, and
Jay
he was
Cutler.
still pretty mediocre.
What give me a rundown of the last 4 games. What are they doing in the last 4? And how are they
Bears?
finishing the year? Yeah.
Oh, my PC's infected with 5 viruses. Please hold. As I try to open up Google Chrome.
I can go ahead and talk about the Chiefs really quick while Martin's computer was.
I was gonna the reason we should wait on that is because I would say they're in the playoff hunt, so when we make kind of our playoff predictions, we can discuss. The Bears are like probably still not gonna make it. They are technically like a game out.
They're not out. Yeah, they could definitely sneak in and still get one of the last playoff seeds, like a wild card.
Don't give me hope.
But
don't give me hope.
I mean, if they had to play like the Cowboys or the Lions, I mean, they've beaten the Lions. They should beat them twice, maybe. But
yeah,
we play the Browns.
Too, to be fair.
Browns today. We play the Cardinals next week. We play the Falcons on New Year's Eve, and we play the Packers on January 7th. So those are 3 very winnable games.
Yeah, I would say so.
Maybe I think the Browns are probably an L just because their defense, and it's in Cleveland, and their defense is really good.
Oh yeah,
Joe Flacco's been kind of playing.
Best team in the AFC, maybe.
They're winnable games. They're winnable games.
I think all of them are winnable, to be honest.
I mean, we beat the Lions. So I mean, no, man.
Maybe
Definitely losing to the Packers though. Doesn't matter who's under center there. We're just owned by the Packers.
For sure. The Browns game will be fun to watch. I think the Browns are going to give it to you guys, though.
I think you guys go 2-2 and you finish 7-10. Does that seem fair?
That's not bad. Yeah, it's not too bad.
I like 7-10.
That's what I predicted the Bears to be way back when we did our in person and we got asked about them. I said 7-10. So
7-10 is pretty close to 8-8, which is what the Bears always go. So
exactly. All right, is it time to talk about my Ravens, aka the #1 seed in the AFC?
Yes.
I know Sam is jealous over there, but
yes, I want you to break the mold that you're not confident they will get the 1 seed in the AFC.
Well, they play Jacksonville, who's obviously lost the last couple. So, I mean, this game still has implications, but not nearly as much as they did. Like if Jacksonville was maybe the same record as us right now, it would be a really big game. So that's obviously a big one. They're still a tough team. And then Miami, who's behind us, who got stunned by the Titans. They should be the same record as us, but they aren't. And I'm very happy about that. We play them as well. So there's some big implication games. Obviously, our hardest game is definitely San Francisco. And the only thing that gives me hope is Lamar is 19-1 against the NFC. So, like, essentially, if we make the Super Bowl, there's a good chance we're going to win because Lamar just dominates the NFC for some reason. I guess because they aren't prepared for him. I don't know. But
yeah, just because.
Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously, we beat the Rams on a walk-off punt return in overtime, but we beat the Lions 38-6 or whatever. We beat the Seahawks, like, the same score. You know, so not only are we being NFC teams, we've crushed NFC teams this year. So yeah, I don't know. I do think the Ravens are going to get the 1 seed. Honestly, I think they will. I think they'll probably, I don't know, they might win I think they'll win 2 more at least. It's a really hard schedule, so I could easily see them going 1-3 or even 0-4 to be honest. But I
Ooh.
think that they will at least win a couple, and that'll give them at what 12-5. So I think that'll be enough to get the 1 seed. As long
Mhm.
as they beat the Dolphins, I think that'll probably clinch it. And I mean, if they beat Jacksonville and the Dolphins, they'll probably automatically have it, to be honest. But yeah, honestly, I'm scared, but I'm excited because I think that this is good for them to have this really kind of gauntlet to end the season. Because the last time the Ravens were really good, they were 14-3 or 14-2. I think 14-2 is still 16 games.
Mhm.
That's when Lamar won MVP. They were the 1 seed. They rested everyone week 16 or 17 that year, and then they had the bye, and then they came out against the Titans in the divisional and were super sluggish, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're the 1 seed, you still get the bye, but they're going to be playing probably everyone in all these games, and it's a way tougher schedule than that season was. So I think it'll help them be ready for the playoffs for sure, having to face 4 teams that all aren't going to be easy. Because even the Steelers Ravens is always going to be a tough matchup, even no matter how bad the Steelers are. So that's the optimism in me for them to, for the playoffs is, that they're finishing with such a tough schedule that it'll help them get ready for it. And yeah,
Mhm.
I think they'll be the 1 seed, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I
I
guess
think
I can jump right into my playoff predictions right now.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the Ravens will be the 1 seed.
Surprise,
I'll
surprise.
start with the division winners. I guess 1, 2, 3, 4 doesn't really matter because they're all gonna have home field and a wild card. I think the Chiefs will win the AFC West, so they'll be one of those teams. I do think that the Dolphins will win the AFC East. I think the Bills will probably lose today, to the Cowboys, and then they'll probably just be too far. And honestly, the toughest one is the Jags, because the Texans and the Colts are right behind them. So honestly, I'm not sure. If the Jags lose tonight to us, they're going to be tied with the Colts. And have the Colts beaten the Jags this year? I actually don't know off the top of my head.
Oh,
Let me look.
not sure.
I
The
actually do
Jags, the
not.
Jags are the Jags are 4-1 in their division.
Okay, the Jags, yeah, okay, that's pretty. They went 2-0 against the Colts, so that actually, I'll give it to the Jags for that record. They did lose to the Texans, but the Texans are on CJ Stroud this week, and he struggled last week anyway, so I don't know about them. So I'll give it to the Jags. So those are my top 4. So I think those stay the same.
I don't
The
know, man.
wild
Gardner,
card,
Gardner Minshew looks good, man.
I think the Colts will make the wild card, to be honest. So I'll give Gardner Minshew his love. I think the Browns make the wild card too. They're just a really solid team. Their defense is gonna drag them in, and
Yeah.
so I
They're
think the
probably
Browns
gonna be
make it.
they're probably gonna be the wild card team to beat, I think, of all teams.
You know, the Bengals have really had a nice bounce back with Jake Browning. I don't think anyone saw this coming. They're now 8 and
Yeah,
6 and in
that is
prime
true.
position.
It's just a good division, the AFC North this year. Even though 3 of the starting QBs are out for the season, but that's fine.
Man, this is a tough one. This last spot. I mean, I could say the Bengals. I think that's with Jake Browning, and say the AFC North dominates. But they got to play the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Browns. That's not easy. 2 divisional games with the AFC North's all tough, and the Chiefs are tough. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm going to put
The Jets.
no. I think man, I don't know. Honestly, this is really tough. I'm gonna go with the Broncos. I think they went out and go
What?
10-7.
No way.
Well, this is who they play. They play the Patriots, the Chargers, and the Raiders. I think the Raiders is the toughest game. So I think they have a good chance to win out.
Yeah, maybe.
And I'm gonna believe in Russ, and then they're gonna get bounced in the wild card. Don't worry.
Well, yeah, I think they definitely lost some steam though last night, losing to the Lions because they didn't look like a good team at all.
Nah, they didn't. I
They-
think the Lions just kind of stepped it up again and looked like the team that can, make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would say so too. They definitely have an easy schedule. Thankfully for the Chiefs too, that the Broncos lost last night, they're pretty much a lock to win the AFC West.
Yeah.
Before that game, they were only one game behind the Chiefs, so that was really scary. Just imagining losing to Russ in the AFC West, bro, that would keep me up all night.
You afraid to let him cook?
I would be afraid to let him cook, man. Yeah.
Who do you guys got in
You're
the
us.
AFC?
Who do I have?
Yeah, who do you guys have making that? It's honestly such a cluster. It's really hard to.
Yeah.
I did some research. I just tried it based off schedule, and that's why I had
I
like the
mean, yeah, I
Broncos
would
and
say
the
that's pretty
Colts.
fair.
Yeah.
I have about pretty much the same predictions. I wouldn't really say the same about the Broncos. I don't even think I have that much like AFC West bias, but I do think the Bengals are somewhat legit with Jake Browning. He does seem like a pretty solid quarterback, at least. Like not even for a backup quarterback. He looks pretty solid to fight his own in the league. So I would reward him with the playoff spot. And in the very back of my mind, I would want like Aaron Rodgers to have an absolute resurgence. Everything in like a playoff scenario would go well, and the Jets would sneak in. But that's not going to happen. I think it's pretty
In a perfect world.
now. Yeah,
If they didn't bench Zach, they might be in the playoffs right now.
yeah, I know. They should have really kept Mike White before they dumped him in the offseason. And they
Dude,
only
the GOAT, Mike White, man.
Yeah, I know, bro. He had like the most exciting games last season, and they just got rid of him. And now they have bums like Zach Wilson and freaking other no name.
Tim Boyle, I think.
Tim Boyle,
He
yeah.
got he
Tim
got
Boyle
released.
stunk, bro. I think they actually signed Trevor Simeon too. He's not good at all. Why would they do that?
Cinnamon.
Trevor Cinnamon, yeah.
But yeah, who do you have though?
So my picks, I think the Dolphins are pretty much a lock for the AFC East. Go Ravens, they're number one seed, I think, to the Jags, the Chiefs. Browns, wild card one. I would say the Bengals are wild card three. And I'd go Bills as two. I think
Really?
at least get a wild card spot, yeah.
You
It would
got
be
the
a
Bills.
big disappointment if they don't make the postseason.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the Cowboys is an L, and I think they lose to the Dolphins too. And I think that
Yeah.
just knocks them out.
Maybe
So we'll see though.
they might. Yeah, they might.
I guess
throw
they'd be 9-8. Yeah, I think there's gonna be a 9-8 team for sure that misses the
Yeah,
playoffs at
probably will
maybe
be.
two. So
If the Bills don't end up making it, I think Stephon Diggs will blow up on the sidelines too. He already cried for not getting much play
So-
time during the Chiefs last week.
you have no love for the Colts.
No, I don't think Gardner Minshew's the guy. I'm sorry. I really didn't think Anthony Richardson was that big of a guy either. As much as I love the Texans too, I don't think they're going to make it without CJ Stroud. But I mean, he's probably going to bounce back, but no one can really tell with him still being a rookie quarterback.
What do you got, Martin? AFC.
What do I got for the AFC?
Yeah.
Dolphins, Ravens.
Yeah, the Dolphins is the one then.
Oh, I mean Ravens won. Ravens
You-
Ravens is the one seed.
Okay.
I'm saying probably Dolphins as the second, Chiefs in third, Jags in fourth.
Okay.
Maybe that's too much of a hot take, but I mean, you know me, I'm a known Chiefs hater, so I'll leave them at 3.
That's pretty fair, I think.
I'm a known Chiefs hater, so we'll leave them at 3. And then in terms of wild card, I mean, I really have no idea because like we've already said, everybody's like right there. It'll be fun to see. I mean, it'd be fun to see Joe Flacco. I'm not gonna lie, it'd be fun to see him have a little bit of a resurgence and then right off into the sunset. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to see Jake Browning do his thing out there too. I guess Gardner Minshew's been a lot of fun to watch. He likes Stroud, a lot of fun. I don't know. Wouldn't mind seeing Russ cook too.
He's absolutely not cooking.
Come on, bro. You got to answer it for us.
Bro, he's cooking with leftovers at this point.
So those are my top four. How many wild cards? I guess I don't know.
There's three.
There's
There's
three.
three
So
wild
seven,
cards.
seven total get in, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So then I'll take Buffalo. I'll take Buffalo, Indianapolis, and the Browns. Maybe.
Okay.
The Browns.
My other one was the Bills if I didn't say Broncos, so I just want to be a little bit of a
Give me the Browns. I want Joe Flacco. You know what? Yeah, get Joe Flacco.
get Joe Flacco in here.
He
All
needs
right.
it.
NFC time. Sam, we'll start with you. Run us
NFC.
through it. Run us through your playoffs.
Okay. I do think the NFC is a little bit more set in stone. I think what Martin was talking about a little earlier in the podcast, there's a lot of like really high up teams already that have made a good statement for the playoffs, and then there's a lot of pretty mediocre teams that are kind of just getting by. I think the Cowboys, Eagles are obviously 1 and 2 seeds. It's a little bit debatable on which will be the 1 and which will be
What?
the 2 seed.
Cowboys, Eagles?
They're the 1 and 2 seed. Well, no,
1 and 5.
the 1 and 5 seeds.
Yeah, they can't even be
They
1 and
can't be
2.
the 1 and 2 seeds because they're
Yeah,
missing
you're good.
already.
You're good. You're good.
But
In theory.
it's in theory, yeah. Well, it's still debatable on which will be the 1 seed at least. They can't be the 1 and 2 seed. But me personally, as much as I wouldn't want to see it, I think the Cowboys are a lot of a hotter team right now. The Eagles are kind of scraping by. Cowboys are going to get the 1 seed, unfortunately. The Lions are going to get the North, definitely. I think it's a pretty landslide prediction at this point. NFC South,
So,
I don't know. I mean, it's the probably the most underwhelming division, I think, of the conference.
does Sam have no love also for the Niners? Just
Oh no, they're a lock to the 3 seed. I'm sorry.
wow.
Brock Purdy is not him, Charles. I'm manifesting Charlie in a weird way, but no. But Buccaneers, I think the Buccaneers would take the NFC South. I think it would be exciting to see Baker Mayfield have his playoff performance as kind of like a Joe Flacco thing. They're both a little bit older at this point. Joe Flacco is obviously probably on his last leg, but it'd be fun to see him make a little playoff run. Obviously, there is the 49ers. I can't forget about them. They're going to take the West. I think they're going to falter a little bit though. I still believe they're probably going to be the 2 seed. I'll give them a little bit more love than what I said earlier. I'll give them the 2 seed. Cowboys 1, Niners 2. I would say the Lions 3. And Buccaneers, unfortunately, they take the 4 seed, even though Eagles, they should be way higher than the 5 seed. But I'll give them that. The last 2 wild cards, that's a little bit trickier. As much as I want to put the Giants in there because of Tommy DeVito, I can't because they're still a pretty lackluster team.
Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets, baby.
Tommy Cutlets.
I would say the last 2 wildcard teams, I would go with the Rams and as much as I don't think they deserve to be in the playoffs, I would give the last wildcard team to the Saints. They're a very underwhelming team, but somehow the NFC South is just going to grab themselves and he's going to squeak by. He's going to find a way.
Okay.
Dude, yeah, the Saints are the only team with a positive score differential in the NFC South.
Yeah, that's part of why I wanted to pick them too.
The classic NFC South 500 team that gets to host a playoff game.
Yeah, unfortunately. And Raymond James Stadium too.
Honestly, man. You want to go, Martin?
NFC, I'll fire mine off real quick. I think 49ers are the first. Definitely. I think they're the top seed. And then that's when we go Cowboys, Detroit. I'll do Dark Horse and I'll say the Falcons. I'm saying that the Falcons are coming out of the NFC South, which is going to help my theory about Justin Fields earlier because I need the Falcons to be somewhat decent and realize they have a quarterback problem and then get Justin Fields in the draft. That's where my head's going. Okay. Anyways, 49ers, Cowboys, Lions, Falcons. And then after that, obviously the Eagles, And then I think you could sauce in the Packers because the Packers look kind of good, even though they just lost. But
Mm,
get the Packers to squeak inside of there. The Packers, the Saints, and probably the Seahawks.
Okay. I'm honestly gonna go. I think Niners are the one. I think the Lions are two.
ooh.
The Lions and Cowboys play each other week
No,
17. That's a big one.
no
Yeah.
NFC East team.
The Cowboys have to play the Bills. I do think they'll win, but they also have to play the Dolphins, and then they have to play the Lions. And I think that they are the two. I think the Eagles are the five. I think the Cowboys will win the NFC East. So Eagles will be five. I'm gonna go with the NFC South is just honestly, I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I think they've been probably the most consistent. The Saints are too, I don't know. You just can't trust Derek Carr. I don't know what is up with them. And the Falcons, I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I think they're most consistent. So I'll give them the 4. I'm gonna go with I like the Rams as well. I'm gonna pick the Rams to be in along with the Eagles, and I'm gonna go with the Packers as well. So those are my wild card teams. And I don't think anyone else in the NFC South makes it besides the division winner. So I'm gonna trust Baker and the boys.
Yeah, and Jordan Love too.
Yeah, Jordan Love. I know
don't
they
think
just
he-
lost 2, and
Yeah, I don't
that
think
was a big one, but
he really got that big morale boost by being the Chiefs, but I think it was a fluke game.
hey man, we'll see. It's gonna be exciting. These are some big games coming up. There's no real locks at all right now for anywhere across the board. So the only
Yeah.
locks are kind of the Niners are obviously they're gonna win the NFC West, and the Lions are gonna probably win the NFC North. But those are like the only locks in the entire playoffs because like the Ravens could still lose the AFC North to the Browns. It's
I
not
would
guaranteed yet.
Yeah, that's true. I would say the Chiefs are pretty much a lock to win the AFC West, though, after they lost to the Broncos.
I mean, not yet.
I don't know about a
yeah.
lock.
They're not a lock yet.
Yeah, they're
No.
not a lock. Oh, yeah, they're not like on picture or like on paper a lock, but I think they're pretty close to winning it. They were one game behind before
Oh,
yesterday. Now
get your little Chiefs.
Here we go.
Get your
Here
little
we go.
Chiefs
the
talk
Chiefs
in.
are not, bro, they're
Ugh.
not losing 2 games in this
Yawn.
4-game stretch.
Oh,
Nobody's.
Oh gosh.
Literally all 4 of our last. How are we gonna lose out, bro?
You're not gonna lose out, but like
We're not gonna lose 2. All 4 of our last games in the season, it's a cupcake schedule. We're playing all backup QBs.
So you're admitting it.
this happens every episode. Don't
I'm
worry,
not
Martin.
admitting
You're
it.
acknowledging that it's a
Uh-uh.
that it's a Mickey Mouse run right now.
It might be a Mickey Mouse run, but we're still gonna make it work. We're gonna beat those LeBron allegations. It's not,
Oh, God.
it's
the
not 2020
Chiefs.
again.
You're gonna beat the Taylor Swift allegations that you need her to win.
Yeah, we'll beat the Taylor Swift allegations too. She kind of faltered out as a good luck charm in these last few weeks, so we need.
Bro, you sure about the Raiders? They just dropped 63.
No, they dropped 63 because of their defense.
That's what I'm
And
saying. Max
that's
Crosby
comparing-
balls against the Chiefs.
yeah, but you're comparing the defense that played against Mahomes compared to a defense that played against a random backup QB that played their first ever game in the NFL. They're not going to drop anywhere 63 to the Chiefs. They're not going to drop 36 against the Chiefs. They might be lucky if they drop 16 against the Chiefs.
Of course,
The
everyone
Raiders,
always,
dude, they dropped 0 the week before they dropped 63. So it's like,
yeah. The AFC West is always it's always, oh, they're the best division in football or whatever, and then they're way overhyped and it makes the Chiefs look better, because like, oh, they won that division, they dominated it. So
The
SMH.
Chiefs always look better. That's the thing.
I think it's cursed, man. You
I-
lost to the Broncos finally. I think your year's cursed, to be honest.
We might be cursed this year, but hey, I will say, as regardless of what we do this season, last season was an absolute trip and we got spoiled. So I'm okay with whatever happens last season. I think the very peak of this little Chiefs dynasty going on was when we all
Bengals got robbed.
together. We all came together.
Martin,
to
I saw it live.
Yeah, we all came together to watch that AFC championship game. Bro, that was awesome.
Robbery.
he had to lean into
Robbery.
that one.
No
He had to
way.
lean into that one real quick.
Had to go into the mic so you all could hear that.
Mahomes, bro, I will never forget that last play where Mahomes like sacrificed his life to get that pass interference call to set up that
Or
field.
no, the roughing the passer or
Roughing the
unnecessary
passer.
roughness, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, he flailed his arms in the air to get that call and out of bounds range.
Honestly, no, I don't disagree with that call, to be honest. That's not even why the Bengals got robbed, but
I think it was fair too.
I
Yeah.
think it was a fine call. Yeah, enough about that. All right.
Enough about that.
It's MLB time. We've taken a lot for the football, but we still got,
Sure.
a little bit of time, 10, 15 minutes to
Yep.
discuss the MLB offseason. Who wants to start with, pick anything that you want to talk about?
Anything.
Yeah.
Martin, you still have a pretty big name in the Cubs organization that hasn't gone anywhere. I think you should start.
I like
Pretty big
that.
name in the Cubs organization, Cody Bellinger.
I like
Yep,
that.
Cody
Is that what
B.
we're talking about? Cody B.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a perfect world, I'd love to have Cody Bellinger come back. It's kind of sad that we did pretty good. We almost made the playoffs, and then Belly and Stroh kind of both decided to test out free agency again. But I guess they were both on prove-it deals, and it worked out for them. So if I got to pay a little bit more to get them back, I'll pay a little bit more to get them back.
Like you'll
what?
personally pay them for them to come back.
I mean, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I mean, I don't know.
That's a true fan.
I'll have to dip into the pockets a little.
That's a true fan. I like
The
that.
podcast. I'll dip into the podcast money.
Hey now.
We're saving that for the Ravens.
I mean, I don't really know. I haven't been keeping up too much necessarily with free agency just yet because a lot of the big names haven't really gone off the board just yet, except for a few huge names. I don't know. I'd like Cody Bellinger back, but if he goes, he goes. There's a possibility that they're saying that the Cubs are supposed to be like front runners for Rhys Hoskins. So I guess that's not a bad backup.
Where do you think he goes then if it's not the Cubs?
I mean, honest to God, I have no idea. I'm in football mode right now, so I haven't been keeping up too much. But I mean, I could just cheese and say the Dodgers, right? Because they're buying everyone right now. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know. Is there a team that needs a first baseman right now?
I've heard. I just looked this up, and apparently the Blue Jays are the favorites, and the Cubs are.
Are they moving
behind them.
Vladdy to just straight DH then?
I would assume that's what they would do. Apparently there's been talks. I've seen some tweets of people talking about the Red Sox potentially.
Oh, he can't go to the Red Sox. That's not going to be no good for anyone.
So that's I guess all I know about right now of teams that are probably. So
I could see. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess the.
Oh,
I
and the
guess-
Yankees.
I guess the what's their name? I guess the Blue Jays are a little sore about losing out on Ohtani. So I guess they could go get them a star first baseman. They could even have a reunion with Stroh too. There you go. That's perfect. You can both bundle them up and take him back.
What do you think about Cody Bellinger, Sam?
He's definitely a player. I'll say that.
He's a player of all time.
Yep, he's definitely one of the players. But I don't, dude. I have no clue where he would go. I mean, that would be kind of cool for the Cubs fans at least to see he would go back to the Cubs. Honestly, it would make sense too, especially with them losing bigger names too, like Stroman. I do think Stroman goes back to the Blue Jays. That'd be fun to watch too. But yeah, that's about all I really know about Cody. I really kind of stray away from my rival team and what they're doing. Just kind of let them do their own thing.
Dude, all of my notes over here are all about Kansas City and St. Louis, man. Come on.
I know, bro. You should have your nose more in the Bears organization. They're gonna make some big moves this offseason.
No
But-
shot.
We're talking about MLB, and thankful to Charles. I'll give him a little bit of credit too. The Tigers just recently signed a pretty big name, so I'm happy for you guys.
I just want actually real quick before we discuss that, I wanted to talk just a little bit on your guys' thoughts. This is a little different, but I'm really curious because I remember I had heard Cody Bellinger talk about this. I'd seen maybe a clip back in January, so before the season, and he talked about how he thinks the shift is going to make him, getting rid of the shift is going to, help him a lot and help his approach a lot more. Why do you guys think he had such a bounce back season? I know obviously he's a very good talent, and so he was probably in due time, but it was quite a shift from those last couple of Dodgers years to the Cubs year, and of course the contract. But what do you guys think? Like, give me some analytical thoughts here. Why you think he had such a good season this past year? Why he bounced back so much?
Um,
Martin, how about you start?
Sam was not ready for that.
Well,
That
okay.
came out of left field for me.
First off, I kind of think he came into this season with the Cubs knowing that he was pretty much on a 1-year prove it deal to everyone in the MLB. And then the Cubs weren't so great the last season, so there really wasn't much expectation to set. So I think he just came into the season with no pressure. He just knew he just kind of got to work on his things, and if he works on his stuff, then eventually over time, the team would have started doing good. And then the Cubs did end up start clicking, but it was a little too late, which now makes him even more valuable.
Do you think the shift had a lot to do with it, like getting rid of it?
Oh, definitely. I think the shift, and then I'm trying to think. In the beginning of the season, he was playing a lot of center field, but towards the end of the season, he was playing a lot of first base and DHing. So I mean,
Yeah,
I think he's a good player. You just got to being in LA, and there's that pressure that everyone gets paid all this money over there in LA, like they have to win. Like that's kind of their mindset. So once they start losing, they're going to start pointing fingers, and it was at him, but now
Yeah.
he's doing just fine without him. So
That's for sure. I do think it really was a big thing when the shift got banned. It probably loses a lot of morale if I were a player like Cody Bellinger too, and imagining he was making like really good contact, but always just managing to get outs and hitting exactly where fielders were. Another player that comes to mind that really helped out with the ruling of banning the shifts was Matt Carpenter too. I know Matt Carpenter is a lot older and he's not really in the same situation as Belly, but he's gotten a little bit of resurgence too after getting that permit deal with the Padres. He actually just recently signed with the Braves, and if I didn't think the shifts wouldn't have been banned, I think he would probably get booted out of the league. And I think the same reason with Belly too. I think his career would have been changed a lot more too if his permit deal didn't really go the way he wanted it to, and if the shift was still in place, he probably would have struggled a lot more. So
he'd be like another Joey Gallo, pretty much.
yeah,
it's just it's
200 with 40 nukes.
crazy, how the shift, they just leave this entire gap in the infield open. And it's so difficult. You think it's way easier just we'll just try and get it, into that part of the field where no fielders are. But with the pitching and all, it's way more difficult, because I didn't realize how much, and I think in all sports too, analytics, but I didn't realize how much analytics there are on the hitters and their tendencies, and how much goes into, so like scouting of, for the pitchers to like where to throw to these guys to get them to get a certain contact that goes in their favor. There's so much more into it, if you don't like think about, or if you don't like realize, what you're just watching a guy pitch a ball to, and a guy with a bat trying to hit it. It can be as simple as that, but like when you really dive into it, it expands so much. And that's just the cool thing about sports, because it could be, you can watch it on the simplest terms about what's happening, but there's so much more that goes into it if you are interested to learn about in every sport. And so that's just really cool to me. And so I was curious what you guys thought about that, because you obviously know baseball more. But yeah, it's just crazy, because there's just so much. It was honestly, it didn't feel like baseball. I remember we were complaining about like when we see them all shift to the right side, and there'd just be this hole,
Yeah.
on left
To
field.
be fair, that was a little corny there for like a second when the third baseman was coming all the way out to like shallow right to play like that kind of stuff was corny to me. It was always corny.
Yeah, I mean it's but I'm glad they got rid of it. Of course, what this is something turned a conversation about the shift. What started it? Do you guys know? Like, was there a team?
The shift, Joe Madden.
Joe Madden did it. Okay.
Yeah, Joe Madden with the Rays.
Yeah, I didn't actually know about like where it started and all. So I was curious.
either.
But as Martin is fact checking it for us, I can tell. Yeah, we can go back to the Tigers though. I was just curious about that conversation.
Yeah, that's why we have
Jack Flaherty, right? Is that what we're?
Yeah, talking about the GOAT, the Cardinals legend, Jack Flaherty. I'm still pretty disappointed to see that the Cardinals let him go.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's a good move for the Lions at least.
Lions.
The first ever
the
shift
Lions,
was
yes.
used on David Ortiz, April 18th, 2006 by the Devil Rays and Joe Madden.
It really obviously spiked in popularity in the last couple of years compared to back then, but
That's for sure.
yeah.
It's to the point where we were like they were doing shifts every single player.
Yeah,
Which
pretty
is like
much.
understandable because every player has their tendencies, but come on. I mean, they're pros. They can hit it anywhere if they really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But it was definitely way harder than it looked, you know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's such an open space, but it's just a lot harder to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jack Flaherty, Sam, you were discussing Cardinals legend.
Yes, Cardinals legend. He actually signed with the Tigers and not the Lions. I have to correct myself on that too, but he's on a 1 million or 1 year prove deal as well with the Tigers. I was going to say a little bit earlier, I think the Tigers have a little bit of more retooling that they need to do as a team. I don't really follow them obviously as much in AL Central team. They haven't really done a whole lot too. In the last few seasons, they've been pretty much mediocre or worse than that. If anything, the main takeaway I would think from the Tigers this season compared to the last season, I would be very sad that Miggy has finally left. He's finally moving on to his retirement tour and going off in the waters. So I don't know where he goes, but like Puerto Rico or something like that. But that's one notable move that's been made in the free agency the last couple of days. Happy for Charles Anano at least. That's someone fun to watch. But he's on a 1 year prove it deal and hopefully he does good over there. But if not, oh well.
Yeah, I don't know about we'll see about the Tigers.
Yeah.
Martin, you had mentioned the Royals. You seem to be a big fan of what they did. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, the Royals are kind of. I mean, I guess they're buyers right now. They're buying every single pitcher that's above the age of 33 right now. So I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, they just picked up Michael Wacha, 2 years, 32 million. Will Smith, who, I mean, numbers don't lie. He's won 3 straight World Series so far. So I mean, 3 different teams. Seth Lugo, Chris Stratton. I mean, they're adding some pretty good veteran arms. They might do some damage and come away with 60 wins this year.
Oh, that's some real damage.
60 wins.
60 wins.
Yeah, and then I have like the Jack Flaherty too. So I mean, I guess the NL Central or the AL Central is kind of bolstering up. They're getting sick and tired of
being the worst division.
Yeah, they're getting sick and tired of the Guardians, the White Sox, and the
other
Twins.
The Twins.
Twins.
Look at Martin knowing all the teams in the AL Central.
Good on you, Martin. Proud of you.
All right, we got to discuss this one at least a little bit. Shohei Ohtani going to the Dodgers, and this was, I remember like literally a day or two before Sam was kind of fanboying in the chat the Blue Jays rumors and seemed to eat it all up, and he's like, oh, blah blah blah, Toronto, and then next thing you know, like I remember the next day maybe it was just like he's signing with the Dodgers, $700 million. And supposedly he's supposed to only get 20 million for the actual 10 years and then 680 million after the 10 years or whatever. But it's to help the Dodgers make more moves, I guess, as Martin, I remember you point out before we started filming what they do. But what do you guys think about Ohtani to the Dodgers? Did you see this coming? Because I personally thought it would be the Dodgers. But what'd you guys think?
Oh, I'm definitely disappointed. Yeah, Charles pretty much hit it right on the nail. That I was pretty heartful about him going to the Blue Jays. I thought it would have been a perfect situation. Everyone was crowding around that plane that was flying to Toronto, and it was just some random like Shark Tank billionaire, I think, that was just flying over there. But it was the realistic move that he was going to go to the Dodgers, and it makes a lot of sense that he would want to be on a winning team, and that's why he's deferred a lot of his contract. I mean, especially when you go from an Angels organization that hasn't done anything, and they have Mike Trout still. I mean, they have no reason to not be successful. But Otani finally had enough, and he was like, I want to be on a winning team. I mean, the Blue Jays are a winning team too. That's what I don't understand about. But he went to go with the Dodgers. I mean, he doesn't have to move anywhere, which is good for him. I'm just sad to see 10 years of, I mean, thankfully the Dodgers, they kind of choke in the playoffs year after year, which is good. But that means there's at least 10 more years of the Dodgers having a good playoff run. And I don't like that they at least even have a chance of winning a World Series. I'd rather them just kind of be more like basement dwellers. But that's been a few years ago at this point. The Dodgers have been consistently good, and they pretty much guaranteed themselves to be good for 10 more years with signing Otani, regretfully.
I gotta admit the jersey, the Dodger blue, does look good on him, but it makes me sick at
Ooh.
the same time.
No way. Yeah, I don't know if you could say that. I think Blue Jays blue would have been better looking than Dodgers blue.
What do you got, Martin?
Uh, I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm thinking about this deal. None of them safe for the podcast. But I don't know, man. I don't like the Dodgers. I think they're frauds. I mean, I'm happy for Shohei because he got his bag. He's finally out of, the Angels organization. He's got an actual chance at winning something now. I'm happy for the guy. He deserves it. But 700 mil. First off, how does anybody live off of like 2 mil in LA in the first place after taxes? Like let's think about that. Anyways, but like I think 700 million is just way too much money to be paying somebody who's two Tommy Johns. And I mean he's coming back on his second Tommy John. So it's like I don't know. I think the whole 680 deferred is kind of shady too because now they've got one of the best players that's ever played baseball, Shohei Otani, coming on a $2 million deal, $2 million cap hit. And now they're going out there to getting Glass now. They got Manuel Margot. They've got the ability to bring back freaking Cody Bellinger too if they wanted. They can bring everyone back. They can bring everyone back and just run through the MLB next year. And
It's
still
scary.
lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Exactly.
It's definitely scary to see. The Dodgers will really have to work something out when that 10-year contract goes up with Otani, and they'll have to end up paying something ridiculous like 30, 34 million, I think, each year for like the next 10 years after he's gone in LA. That'll be fun to watch at least, but we're gonna have to suffer through this first period.
Dude, and like everybody thought the Bobby Bonilla stuff was bad, but Bobby Bonilla only gets paid like 1.5 mil a year or
Yeah.
something like that. Dude,
This is like a whole nother level. People are
that
making
is
Bobby
just
Bonilla
crazy.
for that, and Otani's
Yeah.
getting like 30 times that amount. It's gonna be crazy to see him.
I think 700 mil is way too much, but I mean, I think he was going to get that much. And of course, the Dodgers would offer that much. That's just what they would do. So I'm not shocked. And like Martin said, I mean, here's the point. Maybe Shohei's a good luck charm because I do like him, but I truly think if Dave Roberts is still the manager, they're still going to choke. If they decide to finally fire him, which they really should, I don't know why. I think the Dodgers are delusional in a way, and they've had such a good record just because their teams are so good. But I don't think they've realized their manager really can't win in the postseason. If they got someone that could actually, like a good manager, then they would be, I think, a really big threat to probably just run the MLB for a while. But as long as Dave Roberts is the manager, they're going to choke. So I'm not that worried. It's just it's going to be a show in LA, for sure. Now that you got Shohei to add to that team, but
Oh, for sure.
I thought the Angels should have traded him at the deadline. I understand they wanted to try and make a playoff push, and when the trade deadline occurred, they were in position, to be in the playoffs. Obviously, it didn't work out. I was on team trade him though. I thought they definitely should trade him. I know they could have gotten a lot for him at the trade deadline if they did do that, and then it would have been another team's problem to have to sign him. But yeah, I mean, the Angels are going to be the Angels, and they have an injured Mike Trout now, and
Yeah.
it is
Anthony
what it is.
Rendon,
Back to
Anthony
the
Rendon,
wasteland.
who they're
Yeah,
paying
he's done
a lot
like-
of money.
He
He's done
did like
nothing.
nothing. Yeah.
Mhm. I'm just happy that Shohei didn't go to the Cardinals only because
Are you
Can you
kidding?
imagine how expensive the ticket prices will be at Dodger Stadium with Ohtani now? I mean, they have
Dude,
$700 million.
They gotta find somehow
Dude, if
some way
Otani
to
went
pay
to
the
the if
700
Otani
mil.
went to the Cardinals, bro, I would have moved in with Kevin.
Oh, what, dude? If you're
Season
willing
tickets
to
right
pay,
there.
if you're willing to pay $100 for like nosebleed seats too, then
Season
that's fine.
tickets.
But gosh, imagine how expensive that would be though. The
Bro,
difference.
There was no shot he was ever going to St. Louis.
If he went to the
yeah, no
Cubs,
shot.
I think Martin would have moved to Chicago.
No, I wouldn't have moved to Chicago.
No?
No.
You would
I
have
mean,
tried to go
yeah.
to some games though for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, definitely, yeah. But no, I'm just glad that he's bringing all the high prices to South Beach than freaking Midwest, St. Louis, Chicago. What would we do? We would
Dude,
pay.
plus in general, that 680 that's deferred.
Yeah,
Think about the LA taxes he's got to pay on that. That's tough.
I know that's
That's
ridiculous.
tough.
They're gonna have to find a way to make up that money. And Shohei living off $2 million a year. Poor thing.
But I mean, hey,
He's
the guy made one decision and now he's set for the rest of his life. His family's set for the rest of his life. His family set for like that's dumb money right there.
Crazy. That is dumb money.
yeah, and
happy-
he'll have
I'm happy-
brand,
I'm
he'll
happy
have
for the guy.
brand deals, that'll obviously keep him afloat. I will just wrap up with this. The one thought I thought of when I saw the deal for Otani is I should have never given up on sports.
Dude, literally.
I should have never given up
Yeah,
on a playing career.
You're right. You're right. Yeah. Should never.
Literally.
Should
Now,
never quit
I'm not
T-ball
saying I
growing
could have
up.
gotten 700 million, but come on now.
That
Dude,
is
you
so
could give me the league minimum right now, dude, and I will ride the bench all year just fine.
You get to go to get batting practice in the mornings and get all that good stuff, and then you ride the bench. You have to play.
Give me league minimum, and I will be your bat boy. All 162. I will follow you.
Yeah, that's just crazy money though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, I did not see that coming. I knew Shohei was going to get a lot of money, but I did not think 700 million was achievable. But the Dodgers
If 700 million was always the number, I'm glad he didn't go anywhere else but LA. Like honestly.
Oh, it was definitely made to be too. LA's always been one of those teams.
I would have been hurting for any team that gave him 700 million that wasn't the Dodgers.
Exactly.
Yeah, seriously. Like 5 teams could have just come together and just pulled money to get him. They just split him for like 10 games.
Yeah, he's on 5 different teams.
got split custody.
All right, now time to go to Detroit. They helped pay $1 of your contract.
Oh man.
I think we're ready to wrap it up. Sam, you want to hit us with the outro?
About set. Oh, who hits us with the outro?
Samuel.
Me?
Yes,
I thought you were going to say Martin.
Nah, we made Martin do it last time.
Well, yep, I will hit you guys with the intro. Well, it's been fun. We, as Charles mentioned, we do have part of the Bubble Bowling Boys cast going on for this beautiful episode of A Win is a Win podcast. We've got an exciting lineup of NFL games that are happening in a few minutes too, so that'll be fun to watch. But for now, thank you guys for joining us. We had fun talking about the NFL and the MLB respectively. Probably 2 of the best leagues in the US, I think. Might be a hot take, but I wanted to say something like that before when the soccer guy is not in the podcast. He's out hanging out with his
dude, for real. We're the real bubble blowing boys. Matthew's just a Bayern Munich bubble blowing.
Yeah, he literally is. Yeah, we were giving a little bit of flack for hanging out with his Bayern Munich boys. But that's besides the point. The point is, thank you guys for joining us for this wonderful podcast episode. We will probably see you guys hopefully one more time before we have our little Christmas break before the end of the year, and then we will hop back into the next year all happy and cheerful and ready for more Win is a Win podcast episodes. But thank you again, Martin, for joining us, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
Always a pleasure, boys.
Peace.
Peace.